Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Decker team. And I have the distinct pleasure of recording another beautiful video and audio show for you guys with my favorite son.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Ryan Decker.
Hi.
So Ryan, today we're going to talk about a book you've written.
Yeah. It'll be
Yes.
coming out in a few weeks. It's going through the last edit process right now.
Okay. And we're excited about it.
Yeah.
You're excited about
I'm
it.
really excited about it.
I think when I published my first book, as close as I get, sorry ladies, as close as I can get would be like giving birth. Not well, there is pain in writing a
There
book.
is pain.
But it was more the satisfaction of holding the actual print copy in my hand with the beautiful cover that was done. And it just felt like as close as a guy could come to giving birth. How's that?
Should have used a different metaphor, but that's all right. We'll go with it.
Well, ladies, don't shoot me. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's huge. Because you write it once, and then you rewrite it, and then you rewrite it again, and then you have someone edit it, and then you rewrite it again. And so it's this constant like remaking.
And did you reach a point where you said, I don't want to edit it again, like I'm sick and tired of...
You do for a split second, and then you realize how good it's becoming every time you do an edit.
Oh, okay.
So it's...
See, that's my problem. At one point, I figured mine was good enough.
Yeah.
But apparently there was still a couple errors in it.
Yeah, there always will be, right? Even if it's a perfect book, there's always new ideas you're learning.
Except for the Bible.
Yeah.
I've read multiple copies and I don't see grammar errors or spelling errors in them.
That's true.
It's amazing. They must have like super scholars edit those.
Yeah.
Did you have a super scholar edit yours?
Yes.
Awesome.
A few of them.
Okay, so what's the book on?
Yeah, we should probably talk about that. It's all about how to get a high rate of return without the risk.
No, hold on. I've always been taught that the higher the rate of return, the higher the risk.
And most people have been taught that. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's
and
true.
so the lower return, lower risk, right?
So let me paint you a story here. If I was to walk down the road into oncoming traffic, is it risky?
If it's moving, yes.
Yeah, it's moving. Is it risky?
Okay. Yes.
Do I have a rate of return?
A rate of return?
Yeah. Do I have a rate of return?
Yeah, the distance you're walking.
Okay. So is that a high rate of return?
No, probably low.
Low, but there's a lot of risk.
Yes.
So it's not a fundamental truth, and we think it is. Now let's look at investing. Let's get a little less out there. If you were to invest in a GIC,
Yes. Guaranteed investment certificate.
that's right.
Okay.
What percentage you can earn on that?
Oh, high interest right now. Probably in the neighborhood of 1 3/4 to
Okay.
2, maybe. Maybe. Depends on where you get it and how much money you're investing. If you're investing a lot of money,
You might
you'll get
get-
that kind of rate. If you're investing a smaller amount, it might be under 1%, probably 3/4% or 0.5%.
And what's inflation right now?
That's a good question. It's probably running in around that 2 to 3% because that's the government's target.
The target is 3, and we're
Okay.
a little bit lower. Yeah.
Are we a little lower right
a
now?
little bit, around 2.
Yeah. Is that gas that's driving that inflation rate down? Don't
Couldn't tell
know.
you right now.
Okay.
There's a lot of factors. My question, though, is inflation, what it means is your buying power at $2 will be worth less in a year from now because you can't buy the same thing
Right.
because the prices are being inflated. Inflation.
Yes.
Right. And so if I'm earning 1% and then I have to pay tax on it, or my money becomes... I'm saying it wrong, but what happens to my buying power in 10 years from now? Can I buy more or less, even though I've been earning 1% a year?
Less.
Less. So a GIC is actually risky because I'm losing my ability to buy.
Yeah, I call it a guaranteed risk.
Guaranteed risk.
Guaranteed to lose money.
Well, you won't lose money, but you'll lose the ability.
You won't lose your original capital,
Yes.
and yet you're losing buying power, and you're basically guaranteed to lose what I call money, because that money can't buy the same thing in 10 years that it could today.
Awesome. So that would be low risk, but really it's high risk.
Yes, your capital has
Because your
low risk.
rate of return
Yep.
is so low.
Yep.
Right. So what about real estate investing? We help people earn 20%, 30% a year.
What? 20, 30%? That's awesome.
It is awesome. And if you're like, that's not possible, come to an investment workshop. We'll teach you how it's very, very possible. And we'll teach you a little bit about mitigating risk. Now, the book I've written is all about that mitigation of risk. So you can never eliminate risk, but you can handle it. You can handle it before it even becomes a problem.
Okay. Well, that would be better, because I find when I handle risk, personally, when I handle it, then I don't sleep well.
Yes. So, okay, we'll give you an example so we can bridge this. Fire. If you have a fire in your house, is that a risk?
Well, there's always a risk of having a fire in a house, yes.
Right. And so with a rental property, you always have the risk of having a bad tenant.
Yes, you could have a bad tenant. So
in case of a fire, what do we do to...
And hold on, they're not a bad tenant, just their behavior is bad.
Okay, sure. Sure. The person who has a tenant with bad behavior may disagree with you, but, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So if there's a fire, what do you do to make sure that doesn't happen, or what do you do to make sure it doesn't
Well, there's two
affect you?
things. You would mitigate the risk by putting things like smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors and things like that, maybe heat sensors.
And so what do those do?
They help save lives and reduce the amount of damage.
Yes, because they catch the risk quick enough that something can be done about it.
Yes, and hopefully we only have property damage and not personal life damage or injury to people.
So you limit greatly the risk just by that one thing.
Yes.
Now, what if your house does burn down?
Well, then we hope we had fire insurance.
Yeah, and that will mitigate the financial risk.
Yes, it would. It doesn't mitigate the and it's not even a risk, it's just the inconvenience and the loss of, memories. And now with this cloud thing, it's kind of cool because people are taking their photos and sending them into the clouds.
And then they can retrieve them later.
Yeah. No, I don't know what happens when it rains, because then everything in the cloud disappears. But and how does it go up to the cloud when there's a sunny sky? I just don't get this technology. Right. But anyway, cloud's awesome. All my stuff goes up to the cloud. And when my phone breaks or I lose it, I get a new one, and everything just magically comes down out of the cloud and goes back in my phone.
That's awesome.
So I get all my pictures. And so in the past, when people would lose their house or their computer files or whatever, they would lose all of their pictures and memories and documents. And now with being able to scan, it's awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So those are what happens if there is a fire. Now, there's lots of fire prevention too, right? Mm-hmm. Like you don't have an open pit fire in your living room.
That would be preferable,
because that's pretty risky. So there's certain things we
get
do.
a wet certificate for your wood-burning appliances to make sure they're safe.
And we also clean our stoves from grease so we don't have a grease fire.
Yeah.
Like there's things we do to make sure that risk is less likely.
Yes. Put a fire extinguisher in the kitchen.
So that's fire risk mitigation.
Yeah.
Now, tenant risk mitigation works the same way. And so we would make sure that we get a good tenant. And we would do that through the tenant acquisition process, and there's a bunch of steps to that to follow. And then, so that's making sure we don't have a tenant with bad behavior. Is that what you wanted to use?
Poor behavior.
Poor behavior.
Or poor habits, like not paying their rent.
Like that. And then, say they stop paying their rent, there's processes we can follow to have them out very quickly.
Again, to limit the amount of loss.
The amount of loss, right? And so it's not just about mitigating the amount of loss, it's also the prevention before anything happens. And so this book doesn't only talk about tenants, it talks about different investment styles as well, fix and flip, and the things you can be doing to make sure that you still get a high rate of return and just mitigate the risk.
Wow. Okay, and so for anybody that's even a homeowner, probably the risk mitigation is cool in that book. And then especially if you're an investor in real estate and you have tenants.
Or if you're thinking of investing.
Or you're building, just gathering knowledge,
Yeah.
information, so that you're feeling more comfortable about that in the future. Okay, so they could get this book.
They can get it.
And is it like, that sounds like a very valuable book.
It is.
The last Tenant Protection Act interpretation book I bought was just a binder, and it had some information on interpreting the new Tenant Protection Act, and I paid $100 for that binder.
Wow.
It was about 80 pages in a binder, and part of those 80 pages was just copies of the forms that you can download for free off the rental tribunal sheet, and that cost me about $100.
Wow.
Yeah. So is your book about that price?
No. Well,
No?
there will be a cost unless you're listening to this broadcast, and then it will be free. So
What?
Yeah, I know, it's pretty exciting. So for a limited
Wow.
time, if you would like to get a copy of this book, all you need to do is call or email us. and
Let's do
request
an
it.
email.
An email. Okay, email us.
Yes.
Because then it's a little
Because
quicker.
otherwise operators would have to be standing by, and
Yes, it's easier. So send us an email. It may not be ready right when you send the email, so we'll send it to you as soon as it's published and ready to go. And you'll get your copy free.
wow, free.
Free.
Right to my inbox or mailbox?
Mailbox or email.
So inbox.
Be inbox. Not mailbox. Inbox. It'll be an e-version of the book, and you can read it at your convenience.
Wow. And so if I was an average reader, which I'm below average actually, I read slowly. I absorb a lot.
Yes.
And yet I read below average reading speed. How long would it take me to read it probably?
Probably only an hour.
Only an hour?
It's not a huge book,
Okay.
and it's very powerful.
Okay.
We've
Chocked full of
Chock
information.
full. It's very,
Are there
very...
any stories in it?
Not a ton. There's little stories, but most of it is knowledge and things you can actually implement into your life.
Okay.
So it's very...
So for the person that wants the bottom line, this is a bottom line book.
Yeah.
And the bottom line to their financial world is zero cost, huge return on investment.
There you go. Limiting the risk right there.
How do you calculate the rate of investment or return? If your investment's zero and you get benefit, what rate of return is that? What's the math on
Well,
that?
financially, your investment is zero.
Yes.
So we could say that your rate of return is infinity,
Okay.
because even if you make $1 on zero, there's no way to calculate it. It just goes on forever.
Okay. But you have a time investment to read
But
it
you
for
do
an
have
hour.
a time investment.
Okay. So next time it's a little bit rainy or something, that'd be a good thing to do for an hour.
Sure. Or if you're having trouble sleeping.
Oh, does that happen?
No, I sleep real good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'm just teasing. No, the book's really, really powerful. And I'm really excited to get it out there and have people start to mitigate this risk. And it's really straightforward. Anyone can do it.
Okay.
And once you see the different strategies, you can even start to pick and choose and implement your own. And it is about investing in real estate. However, you can mitigate any area of your life.
Okay, cool. And where'd you get all this knowledge?
So, a bunch of sources. I got a lot from.
Oh, from me. Okay.
From you, yeah. In the lifestyle that
So
you've
I
led.
went through the school of hard knocks,
That's
and so
right.
you learned from my hard
I
knocks.
decided
Is
not
that-
to go through that school, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've also been reading a book a day for the last year.
Wow. So how many books have you read in the last year so far?
So I think I've got 10 days left. So that would put me at 356 because it's a week.
356 books you've read in the last 356
Days.
days? And are these all e-books 1 hour at a time?
No, so there are a few ebooks, but majority are print copy books, different varying in sizes.
So how many hours a day are you reading?
Anywhere between 1 and about 9. So I average it around 3 to 4 hours a day.
Okay. For how many days?
356.
So 4 hours times 300 and... How many hours is that?
Should have done the math before show.
Yeah. That's about 1,300 hours?
Somewhere around there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you spent 1,300 hours and they can spend 1 hour and glean a lot of the information that you learned? Wow.
That's pretty, yeah.
That's
You
a
put it
good,
that way.
That's a great investment of 1 hour.
Yeah.
I like that rate of return. Yeah, so I'm expecting there'll be other books coming out.
Yeah, there'll be another
because of all
book
the
as
reading
well
you're doing?
coming out a few weeks after.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Decker team. And Ryan and I are discussing a new book that he has developed, all about mitigating risk in your financial world. And a lot of it is based on investment properties, real estate, since this is a real estate show.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should talk about real estate a little bit,
Little
right?
bit, eh?
Like you hinted, well, you didn't hint, you just came out and said it, that our clients are making between 20 and 30% per year on their real estate investments. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
And relatively stable.
Yes, and the reason they can get such a high rate of return is they're doing three things. One, they're investing in real estate. Two, they're leveraged. And three, they have compound interest.
Okay. And so my understanding is that rate of return goes down over time.
With real estate, the way we invest, it does go down over time. Even though you're making more money, the percentage of your money invested goes down. And
I think you didn't quite say that properly. Let's get clarity on that.
Okay.
So what we're saying is you're making more money
Each year.
actual dollars each year.
Yes.
But because we're doing it as compound rate of return, we have to add the money you made last year into the capital that you have invested. So now you have more capital invested. So even though you're making more money on that, you're actually making a smaller percentage because the capital has gone up.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah. That was
Okay.
worded well.
And over time, as you reduce the leverage because you own more and more of the property, the rate of return goes down. And at some point, it'll stabilize when you've paid off your entire mortgage.
And it'll hit around 7 to 9%, depending on the property.
If you choose to let it
Just be fully paid
pay
off.
off.
Yeah.
And so I like the rule of 72. The rule of 72 says if you take your rate of return and divide it into 72, it will tell you how many years for your capital to double, right? And so when we're at 20 to 30%, it's only going to take 2 to 3 years for our initial investment. So let's say someone's buying a $300,000 townhouse, for instance, and they're putting 20% down, which is $60,000.
They're going to have some closing costs.
Yeah, so
Let's bump them up to 70.
So let's say 70, okay. And
Not
then
high, but-
in 3 years, they're going to have about 140 in equity. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So their money is going to double in 3 years. But that rate of return is going to go down. And so when it hits about 7%, it's going to take 10 years for their capital to double instead of
3.
3. Because they have to double 140,000 now, not 70,000, right? So what's the way to get that rate back up?
Yeah.
Because I'm excuse me, I'm a little bit older. You're younger. You got lots of time to earn money, right? The older you get, the quicker you need that multiplication of what you have. If you haven't started early, you got some catch up to do. So that doubling of your investment has to happen more quickly the older you are, right? So how do we do that?
Well, that's something we do talk about in the investor workshop.
Oh, so we're going to keep that a secret?
No, we won't give the secret. But if you want to get more detail on this, or you want to come, like you just got to come and learn,
Okay,
get
and
immersed.
so that's coming up the second Thursday
Of the month.
of this month. And for that, they can phone to register.
Okay.
And you can call 613-860-4663. That's 613-860-4663. And we do have operators standing by between 8:30 and 8:30, Monday to Friday. And you're welcome to call in and reserve your spot.
Cool.
And so far, that's a free event. That may be changing in the future, but right now it's free. So
It's still free, so call now because it's going to go up.
And free doesn't mean no value. That's the tricky part, right? Because some people go, well, it's not worth me coming because I'm not paying for it. And yet this is something that I love doing, so I've been doing it for free. And every time, no matter what the group is, there tends to be quite often some very seasoned investors. The last one I had an accountant there, a financial planner, and real estate investors. And everyone left saying they got some value out of it, which is really cool.
That is very cool. And if you're not a seasoned investor, it can also be a great time to get ideas and really grow in your knowledge base so you can start investing.
Right.
And so we do have a wide range of people who come. So to answer your question, how do we get a rate of return back up? Well, we go buy another property with the same money.
The same money.
The same money.
I don't need another 60 grand or 70 or 80 grand.
So what happens is after 5 years, even though the property value's gone up, your equity has so increased to over 40%, usually, it's not guaranteed. You can take the half of it and keep that house and take the other half of your equity and go buy another property.
Cool.
Cool. So you're
Like your own
essentially
two.
doubling your properties, the rate of return goes back up, and now you're compounding too. And the math on that is insane.
Wow. So I take my, let's say it's $160,000 equity after 5 years, and I keep 80 in the original property, and I take 80,000 and I go buy a new property because they're more expensive now than the first
Yeah, right.
when I bought 5 years ago. So I need more down payment. So I take the 80, I go buy a second one. Now I got two groups of $80,000 doubling every 3 years, right? So now in about 3 to 5 years, I'm going to have, let's see, 80 and 80 doubled, that's 160, 160. I'm going to have $320,000 from my original $60,000 investment. Am I doing that right?
Yeah.
Cool. And then in 5 years, we do it again. And so
now you're at 640. So that's after
and then I can just wait.
Or
I could buy more, but
you could buy more.
and I could just wait because that may be enough.
Yeah.
That's going to fund a
Because it's 640 in equity, but you also have all these being paid down. And so once they're paid off, the value is massive.
and the rental income can actually cover, like, I'm talking to people who are going into senior residences, because people are living longer,
Much longer.
and sometimes they're needing more assistance in that extra lifetime period, right? And so they need people to care for them. And if that's the case, then they're paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month.
It's a lot of money
Right?
for one person.
It's a lot of money. And yet if I have 4 rental properties that are rented and property managed, because I'm not going to property manage them at that point, right? Then all that income can support me for as long as I want to live.
Yeah.
Because that's a scary thing if you outlive your money.
Very scary.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So back to your book.
Well, so the book doesn't tell you how to get a higher rate of return. It tells you
Okay.
how to mitigate the risks so you can get a high rate of return.
Okay. Because we don't want to get a high rate of return
And
with
lose all
the
your
chance of losing our
then
money.
I don't want to gamble.
Because I've done that.
Yeah.
I've lost a lot of money in different investments. Not in real estate, though. Surprising.
Interesting.
Interesting, eh? What's this mean?
Well, you can't hear it, but tapping my nose, which means it's a secret / pay attention.
Okay, so yeah. So I've learned every time these telemarketers call me and say, hey, you got to invest in blue diamonds, brown diamonds, green diamonds, oil fields, commodities. It's amazing how, I don't know how they get my cell phone number, but they're calling me all the time. And what I've learned now is just say, no thanks. I'm going to invest in what I know. Because most people know about houses because they live in one. Right? And
it's secure, and there's a lot to it. There's so many ways to get burned in investing. And luckily, real estate, when you do it right, it's very stable, very safe. And I can say safe because you're mitigating the risk. So it's not that there's no risk, it's that we've learned how to mitigate it.
Right.
And you too can now mitigate your risk.
Awesome. By getting this downloaded book, and they're going to email us. We didn't even say where they're going to email us.
Well, that's tricky.
Yeah. Info
At
DekkerTeam.com.
.com.
Yeah. So that's info at DekkerTeam.com. DekkerTeam.com. And we'd be delighted. Maybe just in the subject thing, put ebook, free ebook or something.
Mitigating risk ebook, anything like that.
Anything you like.
We'll know.
Free email, free ebook, and we will email that out to you as soon as it's ready because this is hot off the press.
It will be.
You've been
Except
working.
there is no press.
You've been working and working. There's no press because
it's
hey,
an
that's
email.
green. That's a green initiative,
It is a green
right? Because you
initiative.
don't kill trees to print the books.
Yeah.
Although some people still like paper copies.
I love paper copies.
Something about that. I don't know. The smell of a book.
Yeah. If you want a paper copy, you can always buy it online.
You can buy it online too.
You will be, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome! Through Amazon.
Yep.
Cool.
Either Amazon or.
Is there something else?
That's
I didn't know that.
There's lots of
I
sites.
only shop at Amazon.
Well,
You mean there's somewhere else?
There's lots.
That's very cool. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Remember, if you want a copy of this free ebook, which is awesome on mitigating risk, you can email us at info@deckerteam.com. And we're going to talk about a great property. Now, this property we listed a few weeks back, and it was interesting. It's a waterfront property, gorgeous, handmade pine. What do you call those things? The exposed roof trusses, and it's just gorgeous.
big old wood
all,
beams.
it's all, and the deck is the same with the roof over the deck. It's about 50 feet from the waterfront.
Wow.
It's gorgeous views. It's kind of on a little, almost like a little peninsula. So you have waterfront views all the way around.
Stunning.
And it's about 35 minutes to Canada, which is great. So you don't even need to buy it as a cottage because it's a year-round lake house. Well, $5.99.
Wow.
$5.99. And the pickerel fishing is outstanding. Because when I went up to take pictures and video of the property, I went pickerel fishing with the homeowner, caught a couple pickerel, really tasty. I think I even brought some home and had
That
you
was
eat
very
some.
good.
Yeah, it was very, very good. And so the fishing's awesome. I caught some channel cat too. You can, if you like catfish, it was pretty cool.
Wasn't your catfish too big though?
Yes, I put him back. He's
Okay.
too big. I don't want them that big. They're not as tender and tasty if they get too big. Yeah. So great property. Beautiful. If you want some seclusion, you want the peace of the waterfront, and you want to be able to commute into work, it's very commutable. $5.99. Give us a call, 613-860-4663. And if you'd like to know what the Decker team can do for you, either on the purchase side, the selling side, or even the investing side, we have the professionals to help you. So give us a call, 613-860-4663. We're glad you joined us on the Inside Track on Real Estate.